Okay, here we go. April 19th, 1775. No, actually, that's not the date today, but that's the date I'm thinking about right now. It's April 19th, 2021. But not too long ago, if you think about world history, a very important event happened on April 19th, 1775. It happened in Massachusetts, in an area Lexington and Concord. The British troops were quelling the rebellious Americans that wanted to be free. And they marched, and a shot hadn't been fired yet. They marched to Lexington and Concord, and I think the commander, the guys were in the pub, they came out, I think the guy's name was Gage, and the Patriots lined up there on Lexington Green. I had the chance when I was back east and living in the Boston area, Cambridge area for a couple years, to go see the reenactment. You have to go really early, it's dark, and then I think it's like at 6 a.m. or something like that. And they do a great reenactment. Guys dressed in complete British uniforms, and Patriots over there, not as many. And from what I understand, they didn't know who fired the first shot. But the British, they fought that traditional warfare where they stand in lines and things, and the British fired away and killed some of the Patriots right there on the green. And when you see it and you feel it, the reenactment, the gunpowder, the smell, the muskets, you feel the history of our country. Excuse me. So I wanted to fly my 4 flags today, but I was busy meeting Patriots. Wasn't that great? The Aussie Patriot that's been to Tasmania. I already saw a comment on the video. Somebody from Tasmania liked it. And then Garth that drove down from Wyoming. It just, we're connecting one person at a time. And I'm going to say it again. I've said it before in my videos. Juan O'Savin, I remember him saying, if you could help one person, do it. And Juan is very inspirational. It's inspired me tremendously, Juan O'Savin. And so when he doesn't have a social media place, but he pops up here and there. And you help one person, that's what happened today. Garth brought down Antara from Australia. Isn't that a great accent? And then we met people in there. And, sometimes people, they're crestfallen. They don't know where we're at in the battle. And other, kind of, I'm all in. And I think because I've studied it many, many hours, it just makes sense to me. It's logical that JFK Jr. is alive. It's logical that Juan O'Savin is talking about things. And even a stretch, that Michael Jackson's alive and Elvis is alive. People look at me like, oh man, institution. But when you're fully confident, you've done your homework, you've done your research, you've talked to Heavenly Father, and you know it's true, then you can tell people. You don't try to force it on people. You just get together. And so God bless Garth and Antara. I just love the accent, She's going, oi, oi, oi. And you folks out there liked it too. It's great. It's a connection worldwide. So this was the 19th, 1775. Excuse me. Got a little frog in my throat. It's not Peppy, because I've never... Peppy's my favorite frog, actually. So back there, that's when the Revolutionary War kind of started. And so there's a saying that says, start right, stay right. So today, because our country's kind of going through a near-death experience. There's things going on that I don't know about, you don't know about, parts of the military don't know about, but Juan talks about this, and I kind of believe it. The more you know, like JFK Jr. puts on Telegram, the more you know, the more you know. And he also says, if you know, you know. So here's a masterpiece of communication. Kid by the side of the road. And I'm sure we'll all get them. I happen to get this copy signed by Juan, so I'm very grateful. but I think, I kind of don't like carrying it around too much because it's priceless to me. And I'll get the other ones, though. I still have confidence that I'm going to get them. And I'm sure we'll get them somehow. But what I'm going to do on this April 19th of 2021 is let's just think about the beginning of this country and why we're here. Why we're here. So I'm just going to look and read a tiny bit of the beginning. It's enough to kind of help you start on the right track. Start right, stay right. People need to understand why America exists. So there couldn't be a better explanation than the beginning of this. So I'm going to read it. Chapter 1, The Kid by the Side of the Road. Un poco de agua primero. As a country, one thing people forget in this modern era is that we've been in a national crisis numerous times, far more than people care to recall. We do remember 9/11, and some of us were around during the President Kennedy's assassination. My mother cried and cried and cried. I was a little boy. I was 7 years old. I never forget it. Then there was Abraham Lincoln's assassination 150 years ago. But there's a common theme that's been going on through all of these crises that I think we need to revisit today. And that is about who is actually behind the scenes orchestrating these events that we are continually put into. Is it always unique? Is it always unique players in new situations? Or is there an underlying theme and a common group of perpetrators with these crimes against America and the world? Is there an organization of people trying to keep us enslaved? Next paragraph. Now, if you go back to the origins of our country, there were people who came to this continent and set up colonies, growing the population until it was eventually large enough that local jurisdictions were needed to manage and maintain the organization of streets, taxes, tariffs, property ownership, etc. Then came the creation of a constitutional government from groups of states aligned and working together. People are going to form governments. It's going to happen, whether it's tribal or whatever. And one thing that's so true is you have complete anarchy over here, and you have complete dictatorship and enslavement over here. So the challenge is to find the middle ground where people can be free but protected, so there's not mayhem and chaos. And I think the NDE, we're experiencing some mayhem and chaos right now, and we might have more. So it's critical, if you want to live in peace, to find out where's that happy medium of laws without oppressiveness. What's right and wrong? How much to enforce the laws? Back to a couple more paragraphs here on this significant date. But immediately upon signing the Declaration of Independence, that federal system we established, called the United States of America, essentially needed to declare war against its motherland of England and the ruler, King George. The people over here were rebelling against England. They didn't want the king collecting taxes and controlling them from thousands of miles away. They wanted to be free on this land. We decided we were no longer going to be ruled from afar by foreign masters. We were not going to be their slaves here, helping to keep them prosperous there. Next paragraph, and I'm going to end. And Juan highlighted this paragraph. God bless him. So we declared our independence and had the Revolutionary War that went on for a very long time, much longer than most people realize. Through the course of many battles, people were forced to pick a side. Juan says it a lot, pick a side, pick a lane. The willingness to go against England and King George was not universal from the outset. On numerous occasions, strategies and tactics were compromised by infiltrators and turncoats on both sides, but over time, people's true nature and alliances were revealed, just as is playing out once again before us today. Even some of those closest to President Washington became traitors against him. And our newly formed country, for the gains they would earn from their British partners. It's understandable. People were loyal to the king. You know, if you get a chance, watch the beginning of Braveheart. When I need inspiration, a lot of times I'll watch a little bit of Patriot. I watch Braveheart too, by the way. What I'm trying to communicate, folks, I wanted to fly my flags and drive down the street, but I talked to some new patriots. I'm meeting more and more people. So I'm going to just say this. It's vital to understand what's going on so you can pick a path. Do you want complete control? Well, people say your house has got to be this color. You got a universal income. You have this, you have that, and you got to do this. Like somebody said, I think it's Klaus or somebody. You know, don't worry, you don't own anything. But you're going to have everything. No bueno. We're all going to have to choose a side. Spiritual warfare. It's spiritual life or death, which will affect, you know, your status for the next 500 billion years. This is it. This is it. This is the end game. I want to thank every single subscriber. I want to thank all the people I met on the East Coast. I want to thank Garth and the lady from Australia for coming down here. And I'm grateful to all the people that are fighting for free agency, for freedom. And that shot heard around the world on April 19th, 1775 in Lexington was a revolution against tyranny so that people could have freedom. The whole world is watching what's going on in the United States right now. This is the epic battle for freedom and liberty. And I guess you finally have to get to the point, you know, give me liberty or give me death. Thanks for listening.